30 years ago, few outside China had ever heard of the name Huawei. Today, it stands among the giants of global technology powering networks, smartphones, and innovation across more than 170 countries. How did this happen? How did a small startup founded with borrowed capital in a modest Shenzhen apartment grow into a company that helps connect 1/3 of the world's population? This isn't just the story of one business. It's the story of vision, persistence, and a belief that progress is built, not bought. Huawei's rise reflects a larger truth, that with courage, focus, and long-term thinking, even the most unlikely beginnings can shape the future. In this video, we'll explore Huawei's extraordinary journey and uncover the timeless lessons it offers to every entrepreneur who dares to dream big. Every great empire begins not with power, but with purpose. For Huawei, that purpose was born in the mind of one man, Ren Zhengfei, an engineer, a soldier, and above all, a believer in his nation's potential. In the late 1970s, China was standing at a crossroads. After decades of political upheaval and economic isolation, the country began to open its doors to reform and global trade. Factories were rising, entrepreneurs were emerging, and one city in particular, Shenzhen, was transforming from a quiet fishing village into a hub of innovation. Ren had spent years serving in the People's Liberation Army, building infrastructure that would help modernize his country. But when his military unit was dissolved, he found himself without a job, without resources, yet filled with determination. In 1987, with a small loan and just 14 employees, he founded Huawei. Its mission was simple: to sell and later create telecommunication equipment for China's growing market. What set Ren apart was his belief that technology should be built, not borrowed. That progress must come from within. This quiet conviction that China could stand on its own through innovation became Huawei's driving force, the seed from which a global giant would eventually grow. From the very beginning, Huawei was different. While most companies in China at the time made quick profits by importing foreign products and reselling them, Ren Zhengfei took a slower, more demanding route, one built on research, learning, and innovation. In Huawei's early days, the company didn't have advanced technology or a famous brand. What it did have was an unshakable belief that knowledge was the true capital of the future. Ren poured every bit of profit back into research and development, even when it meant operating at a loss. For every product Huawei sold, a portion of that revenue went straight into its R&D labs. Within a few years, hundreds of engineers were working not just to assemble, but to understand, to study global technologies and build better ones from the ground up. Huawei's internal culture rewarded effort, discipline, and a shared sense of ownership. Employees could buy shares in the company, making them part of its growth story. This model created something rare, a workforce deeply invested, not just financially, but emotionally. They weren't simply employees, they were builders of a shared dream. By the mid-1990s, this relentless focus on R&D turned Huawei from a local supplier into a rising national champion, proving that innovation, not imitation, would define China's next generation of companies. By the late 1990s, Huawei had firmly established itself as a leader within China. Its technologies powered communication systems across provinces. Its workforce grew by the thousands, and its research centers buzzed with relentless experimentation. Yet Ren Zhengfei saw beyond borders. He often reminded his team that a tree cannot grow tall if it only feeds on its own soil. If Huawei wanted to endure, it had to learn to compete and to cooperate with the world. The company's first steps abroad were cautious and humble. Small offices were opened in Russia, Brazil, and Eastern Europe. Teams of young engineers were sent overseas, many for the first time in their lives. They carried not just technical blueprints, but an ambition to prove that Chinese engineering could deliver reliability and precision on a global stage. The challenges were immense. Huawei was unknown, its brand unfamiliar, and its language often misunderstood. Some clients doubted that a private Chinese company could meet international standards. But Huawei didn't rely on marketing slogans or price wars. Instead, it relied on persistence. It built one relationship at a time, one network at a time, often taking contracts others ignored because they seemed too small or too difficult. This slow and steady approach began to pay off. The turning point came in 2009, when Huawei was chosen to build Sweden's 4G network, a stunning achievement in the home of its longtime rival, Ericsson. It was not only a technical victory, but a symbolic one. The world had begun to take Huawei seriously. Over the next decade, Huawei's technology became the invisible backbone of global connectivity. From African cities to European capitals, its systems linked people, businesses, and ideas, proving that innovation has no borders, and neither should ambition. No global success story comes without resistance. For Huawei, the higher it rose, the stronger the winds became. By the late 2010 seconds, the company had become a household name, a global provider of smartphones, network systems, and 5G technology. But along with recognition came suspicion. As geopolitical tensions grew, Huawei found itself caught in the middle of forces far beyond business. Bans, restrictions, and allegations began to surface, questioning its transparency and independence. For many companies, such pressure might have been enough to crumble morale, but Huawei responded in a way that reflected its deepest values. Rather than retreating, it turned inwards back to the same principles that had guided it from the start: self-reliance, innovation, and service to the customer. Ren Zhengfei addressed his employees directly, reminding them, "We can't control the wind, but we can adjust our sails." Factories were restructured, new research teams were formed, and investment in chip design, software, and artificial intelligence intensified. While some doors closed abroad, Huawei opened new ones at home, expanding into cloud computing, green energy, and smart vehicles. The company's transformation was not a reaction to crisis, but an evolution born from it. Inside Huawei, the spirit of endurance became culture. Employees worked not out of fear, but out of conviction that innovation must continue no matter how fierce the storm. And in that perseverance, Huawei rediscovered what made it extraordinary in the first place: its belief that progress is not about avoiding hardship, but about growing through it. In the face of adversity, Huawei didn't merely survive, it adapted, it evolved, and it proved that resilience is the truest measure of strength. From a small workshop in Shenzhen to a global network that touches every corner of the world, Huawei's story is more than a tale of technology. It's a testament to vision, discipline, and endurance. Its path has never been easy. It faced scarcity, doubt, and storms that could have ended its journey at any point. Yet, time and again, it returned to the same belief: that innovation is built through patience, that progress requires perseverance, and that trust is earned, not demanded. For modern enterprises, Huawei's Rise offers timeless lessons. Greatness doesn't come from shortcuts or trends. It comes from clarity of purpose and the courage to endure. It reminds us that every challenge can be a catalyst for reinvention if met with resilience and creativity. As the world moves faster than ever before, Huawei's journey stands as a quiet reminder. Success is not defined by the absence of obstacles, but by the will to keep moving forward despite them. Every business, every entrepreneur, and every dream begins the same way with uncertainty. But with vision, discipline, and persistence, that uncertainty can turn into something extraordinary. Just as Huawei proved, the future belongs to those who build it, not wait for it. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to follow our channel for more journeys like this, stories of innovation, ambition, and resilience that continue to shape our world. Join us in the next episode, where we'll explore how other global brands turned challenges into opportunities, and what their stories can teach us about the future of business.